questions asked, and it's some more. Here comes some more. Just keep dumping well-being on it. Because you can't. It's if you truly have it, there's no way to deplete it. Imagining you have well-being sucks. Because then when you go to do an act that you think you've got plenty for and you don't, it falls apart. And then you're just frustrated, which frustration leads to fear. Bam, now you're back to square one again, starting all over. And I watch people do this daily. Every day, it's a struggle to get to that place. Why give it up? When you get to the top, nail your feet there. Just get out a hammer and a nail, and make sure you pound yourself deeply into where that higher state is, and don't leave. And if you have to, watch yourself leaving. Don't disassociate and disconnect. Be present for that very painful experience of falling from the heights. And be very aware of what's happening as you're falling. This is focus on what ails you.
And it will change.
Right, because if you're free and you return to the unfettered flow of life force, that's your natural state. You will naturally gravitate back into the flow of life without any problem. It's just your being will gravitate itself right back in to that stream and be that stream again. It won't resist it. Right? So when you're falling off, it's your resistance to growth. It's your resistance to the full realization of who you are, the soul that you are, the spirit that you are, that divine love. It's the resistance of that knowledge. That knowledge is energetic. It's present. It does not come as a thought. It comes as a present energetic that, wow, you feel it. Not you think about it and you have a concept about it and you go pray on it and meditate about it. You feel it. Right? So when you're falling off of that, it's the only thing you can make sense out of. Because if you're unfettered, you're just going to naturally gravitate back into the stream of life. There's no decisions for you to make. There's nothing for you to do. There's really no understanding of, you're just lifting up. Right? Which is what everybody wants. It's well-being. We're heading there. Hey, cool. No questions. It's when we're falling off of that. If we can pay attention there, we can understand that's the negativity. That's the fear, right? It's the nosedive. If you can stay aware through the nosedive, and then when you hit the pavement, you're still aware. You don't go unconscious. You stay with it. You'll start to understand how you take yourself down. You'll start to see the patterns that play out your mind uses to trap you.
Kind of like your airplane ride. It's just
Yeah, and everybody in that plane. I mean, it was like, wow, and I just started laughing because what a burst of energy that was. It was like in unison. Everybody went, because I mean, everybody's out of their seat. I mean, you're out of your seat for a good 10 seconds while this plane is diving. Yeah, they were all spooked, and I just had to start laughing because it was like, wow, that was fun. Do that again. Not the experience of the dropping, just the whole hush in the plane and everybody at the same time. Boom! It was like, woo, that was kind of fun. It was energetic, I'll tell you that. Maybe not and I had to laugh. The kid sitting next to me is looking over at me. You stop laughing, though. There's nothing funny about that. Where I proceeded to say, what do you mean, man? There's nothing funny about that. All it means is, the life where you have to pay rent is done. You don't have to pay anymore. That's all you're going to lose. It's settled down. The stewardesses were like, thank you. They gave me a cookie. They did. They came up and gave me a cookie. I was like, hey, cool. Because those situations get very tense. And if everybody keeps just, oh God, we're going to die. If anybody says that, that's like it sends everybody on a bad trip. So I figured I would preempt that person by laughing first. So that joy was the first thing that came. So it was,
and it did kind of probably wake them up a little bit, just give them something else to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, well, you'll all feel a lot better when we land. When this plane's actually on the ground, that's where your well-being's going to return to you. Because right now, it's upside down in your stomach and halfway out that window. So when you land, then the breath. That was even pretty intense. Is the hush of relief when that thing finally entered the gate. Not going down the runway. They still were this is a bad situation. Until it pulled in and people were getting their luggage and the plane was stopped and off. Then I think everybody went, the world died. Because, you see the scenes of Denver. It's planes off the runway, and some smoking over here, and a bunch of ambulances going to this plane on fire over here. It happens in Denver all the time. Because of that weird turbulence. Makes those planes come in sideways. I mean, ours was doing this, And I'm like, we're only like 50 feet above the ground. This has got to stop. Because you need to land like both tires on the ground, because it's just not good. That's how you do the skid out and get the free. But the cool thing about being involved in something like that, your next flight is free. That's the greatest thing about turning sideways on the runways, because you won't have to pay for your next flight if you're actually courageous enough to take one after something like that. Because I've always figured, if I have one really bad experience on a plane, that's it, I'm done. I'm not flying it.
Well, you got to get back on that horse.
Yes. And I've been doing a lot of flying. So that was the worst I've ever experienced. But yeah, the tension in there was intense. You could totally tell. None of these people are ready to die yet. So what is it you're living for?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Because obviously, if you're not ready to die, you haven't done what you're living for yet. Right? Because if you did, you'd be ready. Serene at that. Calm as a Hindu cow. Ready? Come on, crash this thing. Okay. But everybody's like, no, I can't die. Why? Ask yourself why. Why can't you die? Well, I'm not done. Okay, and how old are you? When are you going to get around to doing that? Because, your time's only getting shorter, not longer. So, really, wake up and get that done. Then you can enjoy the rest of your life. You can exude love for the rest of your life. And you can walk out of here satisfied. Because, I've been telling all the young people I work with this, and it's not about how good of a life you live. Your whole entire life should be in preparation for a good death.
That's what my dad always said.
Which is, sounds morose. What do you mean, prepare for a good death? Well, it means laying on your deathbed and not regretting anything and not going, I need a phone, I need to call this person and tell them how I really feel. Well, you had plenty of time to do that while you were alive. That was your reason for being alive. Get it done. Then you're free. And then you can live this life with freedom. And from there, the universe opens up to you. The universe is not against us. It's not like it's going, bad kid, bad seed, let's destroy it. It's not. It's waiting for, what's the way, some poet put it in a very beautiful way. The universe is an amazing presence awaiting for us to become mature enough to handle it. Something to that extent. Pretty close. And that's exactly what's happening. Because once we relinquish the fear and our well-being has peaked, the universe opens like a lotus flower and you can dive right in. Last night, a friend of mine, she's a massage therapist in California, and she's very good at it. I mean, she's also one of these, she doesn't know it, which makes her that much more potent at it, that she's one of those, I guess Reiki's the word they use, phenomenal at it, but doesn't even know she's doing it. She just will, be massaging out of some, knot, and then she'll just stop and just sit there with her hand there. Right? You can feel what's going on. So we had a conversation earlier in the day because she wants to be more present to when you be in the body. And I had mentioned to her, because it was along the lines of our conversation, that all your consciousness emanates from your thighs. It is not in your head, it's in your thighs. Your thighs know what's happening long before your head does. Right? And when they twitch, a lot of people, when they're about to have a very enlightening experience, will feel a vibration in their legs, much like they have a cell phone on vibrate in their pocket.
Huh. Me too. Oh, no.
What's
I
that?
thought that was like sciatica or something.
No, it is your body becoming aware of something your mind cannot perceive.
Wow.
Right? So every time that happens, you think it's sciatica, sit back, go into silence, right? Go into the silence and just become aware of it. And you will start to notice there's something around you that you can't see with your eyeballs. But if you could see energy as it flows in the universe, it would be right there in front of you. So you allow your thighs to do that without you getting involved. And very interesting because, I'm going through this whole massage therapy, about an hour into it, and all of a sudden, she's puts her hands like right here, stops, right? And it was very interesting because I had this experience where I'm laying there, okay, my eyes are closed. I started seeing these two brilliant points of light doing this. It's undulating around, right? And it was very weird. It wasn't in English, but it was a command nonetheless. I call it prime directive. That's what life gives you, the prime directive. You can adhere to it or not. That's will. You can either have the courage to be in love or fall away. But anyway, I kept hearing these commands. So these two little points of light are floating. It said, lock them together. Right? So, because we're doing this, so I stopped them. I was able to get them to line up. So when there was movement, they would both move like this at the same pace. Stay the same distance apart. Right? And I'm looking at this, and all of a sudden I hear it tell me, now lock them in. And I don't know what all this means. I'm just, energetically going through the motion, I guess. And they would get to where they were like floating around the colored part of my eye. Like right out here, like this. And then the minute it went into the pupil, it stopped, and you could hear it, boom, lock in. And when it did, it was almost as if what I was seeing out of both my eyes stopped, right? Went backwards, and there was like a rollover, like a rolling over, and all of a sudden it was just a scene out in front of me. Third eye, just completely wide open, right? And there was this like portal there in that field. This energetic there was this energetic presence that was something you could go into. So I went into it, shot down it, and I mean, full momentum, just going. And she's trembling. You could hear her making all kinds of noise, right? And then it stops, comes back to a more everyday reality type place. And I look up at her, and that was the most amazing scene. Because when I looked up at her, the whole room is gold. Just gold. Right? I mean, like this is gold. I mean, it was like it was emanating out of everything. You couldn't even see the room we were in because it was all emanating this golden color. And I look up at her, and she looks down at me, and she goes, "Thank you." I said, "For what?" She goes, "I was right behind you." This is a woman who knows nothing. She doesn't know. Doesn't know what Reiki is. Nothing. She's just a massage therapist. The fact that she doesn't know mentally all these terms makes her so much more powerful. Because there's no ego in it. It's all pure life force. It was amazing. So me and her have, bonded in a way that most people won't. It was like one being there. Not two, one. Not how many are here? One. These are the experiences we're reaching for.